I want to mention billion US dollars. And the biotech industry investment reaches $2.48 billion. At the end of this year, last year, 124 biotech companies had listed in Taiwan, and the market value of those listed companies was over 27.7 billion US dollars. So it's huge in Taiwan. So here we have several, for example, the president of a hospital, Mr. Ho, he is an expert in this area. Today, Mr. Huang is over there. Huang, he is a very key person in the one biotech industry company in Taiwan, and he will give a speech reaching from Taiwan to be your biopharma partner. It could also be seen as Taiwan can help. I think we can. Our two countries can help each other and cooperate closely to develop our biotech industry. I believe that through today's forum, our cooperation between Taiwan and Lithuania will create more synergies to improve the development for both sides biotech industries. Thank you for your attention. I hope you all will have successful and fruitful discussions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just short notice that please all speakers to stay near to the computer so it will be better seen to our online viewers. And now let me introduce our first speaker, Mrs. Karolina Karl. She is Senior Investment Advisor at Governmental Institution Invest Lithuania. Karolina is well known for her strategical experience in working with global companies' expansion projects in Lithuania. From 2019, based on the government's ambitious goal to strengthen the life science industry in Lithuania, Mrs. Karolina was appointed to the newly created Life Sciences team, where she is responsible for the global biotech and pharma companies, consulting them on the expansion decisions, providing aftercare services, as well as contributing to Lithuania's life sciences industry development. Mrs. Karolina will introduce you attractiveness of Lithuania's life sciences. Please welcome.
Dear honorable guests, viewers from Taiwan, we welcome you today in Lithuania. So my name is Karolina, and I will briefly show you what is the life sciences sector in Lithuania, what can you expect, and how can we assist you. So just briefly starting from our introduction. So Invest Lithuania is a governmental agency under the Ministry of Economy and Innovations, and we assist foreign companies, investors in all the possible ways, starting from the first stage when company is looking for a location to establish its manufacturing or R&D operations. We provide all the necessary data for the company so they can explore the local market. Then the following step would be we organize site visits to Lithuania, during which we have 2-3 days agenda, meeting with all relevant stakeholders such as HR, legal advisors, peer companies, because we believe that it's best for a company to experience market once they are in and once they talk to already existing companies in the market. And the final stage is very important, that once the company sees that it's a win-win situation and they case can be successful in Lithuania, we do not leave them there at that stage. We provide all needed support once it is already established in the country. So, for instance, company would require some regulator changes or additional roads or any related topic. We assist throughout the whole journey of investor. So Lithuania, with 2.8 million of population, we have the lowest GDP decline during the COVID. We created a plan to recovery as soon as the COVID hit it. Therefore, we do not see, we are not affected that much. But the most important part is the ambition and why, like life sciences, Lithuania, it doesn't come up on your mind when you think about it immediately. But the life sciences sector in Lithuania is very strong. And in 2019, the government created ambition to generate 5% of GDP from life sciences. What does it mean for the company? It means that the company can expect the full governmental support, starting from the financial incentives and finishing with the strategic focus. So the life sciences in Lithuania comes as a priority sector. A very important aspect to mention also that Lithuania, given its convenient position, we are globally integrated. So we fall under European Medicine Agency regulation, and also we have FDA mutual agreement for the clinical trials, meaning that FDA came to Lithuania a couple of years ago and they evaluated the quality of clinical trials conducted in Lithuania, and they say that it's equivalent standard to the FDA, meaning that if company conducts clinical trials in Lithuania, all the clinical data is accepted by FDA. So it makes Lithuania rather convenient to cover both European and US markets. Following by biotech competences, we are strong in cell and gene. That's an emerging area. Proteins has been our historical back in when the life sciences started, and pharma is also one of the key sectors. So, for instance, we have Teva generic manufacturing in the country, and there one of the most profitable products, Filgrastim, was created together with Lithuanian scientists. And our key star, we already had an introductory conversation with Gintaras, Valincius, and Adimune Albert about CRISPR-Cas9. It's definitely the star and the thing that we are very proud of. So Virginijus Šikšnys, he developed a CRISPR-Cas9 development tool, and he received the Kauli Prize for that. And we will be able to meet them in the afternoon during our visit to Life Sciences Center. Talking about the hard part of the industry, so medical devices, we're mainly our main strength lies in disposables and lasers. And our best ambassadors, and it's always best to look at what companies experiencing and their journey to Lithuania and why they chose Lithuania. So Hollister is American-owned family business. They chose to establish its manufacturing operations in Kaunas. Kaunas is the second largest city in Lithuania. And what they say that the quality of the talent pool that they receive in Lithuania, together and combined with governmental support, made them feel like this is the market to be. So from their manufacturing plant, which is actually largest in their global footprint in Kaunas, they are covering European market. So looking more into the details, you can see the map on Lithuania. So Vilnius, the capital where we are located. Kaunas, as I mentioned, the second largest city. So Vilnius historically is focused more on red biotechnology. So you would find Thermo Fisher, Teva here, Norway Biotech Pharma in Vilnius. And Kaunas, since it has more engineer talent pool, it is focused more on medical devices. And let's deep dive into the companies that are present in the country. So these are just several names. starting from the cell and gene, Forcev, Cosign, Parentis, followed by Proteins Pharma. So these are manufacturing in biotech and pharma, followed by global business shared service centers. So you see the Dexcom, AmerisourceBergen, and McKesson, Fortune 500 companies. They are doing their financial services from the country. On the hard part, we have medical devices, so UK intersurgical infusion pumps manufacturing, Hollister or MOOC, and this is followed by the strong startup ecosystem, and we recently see the boom in artificial intelligence related thing. Following by the talent pool, and the main reason why these companies are successful in the country is we are first in CE for university and business collaboration in R&D, meaning that you could expect all the needed qualifications in the talent pool coming very strong from the universities. Followed by the second in EU, by 56% of young population having a higher degree. That's a common thing in Lithuania, and if you would ask on the street, everybody would have a higher degree. And the most important thing is that the STEM is in our DNA, and we do see the interest in the life sciences area. Another our success story and our star is the largest company in life sciences in Lithuania, Thermo Fisher Scientific. They employ over 1,800 employees. But the interesting story about them is how they started. They started in 2010, then they acquired local company Fermentas, and at that time, Fermentas had only 100 employees. 10 years later, we see that they employ 1,800, and they are not stopping there. They are expanding each year. So, for instance, last year they hired only 500 employees. And I would like to mention that most of their talent pool comes from the Life Sciences Center. And as their Senior VP says, the reason behind such a successful growth of the company is definitely the availability of the talent pool. Looking into geographical location, Lithuania is very convenient location to manufacture and export its production, so we can easily cover the whole European market. Nevertheless, we see that for the life sciences products, over 90% of the production is exported to US market, meaning that it's convenient in both. And one of the main key aspects what you could expect in Lithuania, so I included this hypothetical scenario, meaning how much company would need to pay to facilitate per year the team of 100 qualified specialists. And as you can see from both labor costs and utility costs, Lithuania completely stands out. Nevertheless, the quality is there. And last but not least things is financial incentives available for the companies. So we can have in Lithuania both national governmental support and European grants. So talking from the national point, the first one is FDI Invest LT+. So basically this is a national governmental support for the companies who are considering manufacturing operations in the country. The following two, triple R&D deductible or the patent box, are in order to foster the R&D activities in the country. So for instance, triple R&D deductible, meaning that if company spends 100,000 and this amount is tripled, and 300,000 is the amount which company is not required to pay the corporate profit tax. Patent box is the lowest in Europe, even in Ireland is 6%. So the patent box meaning that if company registers its product in Lithuania, it is eligible to pay only 5% of corporate profit tax instead of 15% flat. Free economic zones is a specifically dedicated industrial area for the companies where they could have an access to all the needed infrastructure, and this helps company to ramp up very quickly. And the last thing is, being a small country, we are thinking how to make Lithuania even more attractive for manufacturing operations. And government came up with this idea to create special financial incentives for large-scale investment support. Meaning that if company would invest 20 million euro and would employ 150 specialists over 5 years, it is relieved from the corporate profit tax for the 20 years. In addition to that, understanding that it's important to know how to operate in the market, this investor would receive a dedicated person at the ministry who would be their project leader, and basically he would guide them for holding hand anywhere they need it. What does it mean? It means that company would get any needed migration procedures quicker or construction permits, so all the attention and support is there. And as I mentioned, Invest Lithuania is here to support throughout the whole journey, starting from decision-making process to business establishment and also aftercare once the company is in the country. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them later.
Thank you, Karolina. And thank you being on time. I think you even spared some time for following speakers, so thank you very much. And now, please let me introduce Professor Gintaras Valincius, who is the director of the Vilnius University Life Sciences Center. Gintaras is expert at the Research and Studies Monitoring Agency, and he was Lithuanian representative at the European Strategy Forum for Research Infrastructures and chairman of the Lithuanian National Research Infrastructures Roadmap. He is a scientific chairman who participated in preparation of Lithuanian smart specialization strategy. His research field is electrochemistry and spectroscopy of biomolecules and biological models. Currently, his research efforts are directed towards the development of simplified but biologically relevant model membrane system to study molecular processes in membranes. More than 70 scientific articles were published in internationally acclaimed scientific journals and were cited more than 1,900 times. Please let me introduce Gintaras Valincius to share his insights about life sciences ecosystem in Lithuania.
Thank you very much, Kęstutis. And thank you very much for coming to attend this presentation. After beautiful Karolina's presentation, she did most of the job I was intending to do, but of course I will follow the track and try to give a brief sketch on the life sciences ecosystem in Lithuania. So, next slide. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. So, essentially, the life sciences story is dating back to 1974 and 1980s, when the recombinant protein technology emerged in the world, and actually the same happened in Lithuania. But you know, for many years, the investment into this field was very small, and things changed in the first decade of 20th century. So our government decided to pool money, basically from the European Union structural funds, and to invest into the field, among other fields, also into life sciences, into biotechnology. And in general, the program was called the Science Studies Business Valley Program, which was supervised by Ministry of Sciences and Education and Ministry of Economy at that time. It involved investment of up to 220 billion euros and national complex programs, which involved, you know, some activities, support activities. In theory, the program started in 2007, but generally every investment, you know, the very investment started in 2010. So we can currently probably may celebrate, you know, 10 years of investment into research-intense fields in Lithuania, including life sciences. So, okay, so I'm sorry. So the first round of investment amounted to approximately 600 million euros, and many large part of this money went to capital investment into research and establishment, and also to support business investment into manufacturing and research and development facilities. So in 2014, 2020, we had a new period which was based on Smart Specialization Program, which essentially was a priority program in Lithuania, which received approximately 800 million euros. Those numbers are rounded numbers, of course. The precise numbers could be found in official sites. So, and currently, well, already this program comes to an end. So essentially, we can speak about 10 years of investment into R&D intense industry and R&D in the public sector, which amounted to approximately 1.5, 1.6 billion euros. So speaking about life sciences environment, quite a lot of money during the first period, which started 2010, 2016, was invested into government efforts to consolidate life sciences potential. Before, we had quite scattered systems of institutes of biochemistry, of biotechnology. We had other small institutes, and we also had in Valincius University, which had at that time quite a large faculty of natural sciences. So one of the major investments out of those 200 million euros went to Central Valley program, and 42 million euros was invested into building new facilities and buying some instrumentation. The specific building was built for 30 million euros, so this is really cheap according to today's prices. So, and other 20 million euros were invested into Central HQ cluster of hospitals, business, research and development institutions, and some support was done in Kaunas Life Sciences Health Sciences University in Kaunas. So Central Valley program included consolidation of these three institutions. At the end of this process, now we have over 240 PhD scientists and over 350 graduate students. On top of this, of course, we have approximately 700 undergraduate students. I will speak about this in detail in the afternoon session. So this consolidation definitely was a big trigger for high-level science, and Karolina already mentioned, our major international recognition actually is the Kauli Prize, which was awarded in 2018. This is the picture taken from my smartphone, during the whole ceremony in Norway, Oslo, when the King Karl V is shaking the hand of Virginijus Šikšnys and Jennifer Doudna, last year's Nobel Prize winner, and Emma Charpentier are just right next to our scientists. And of course, this triggered a lot of various events. Virginijus and other scientists were invited to accept honorary degrees at UK universities across Europe, other universities across Europe, and Vilnius become, a hub for CRISPR dedicated research conferences, attracting over 300-400 participants. So another big story was first ERC grant. The grant is really a major grant, 2.5 million euros, but the value of this grant is, I would say, more symbolic, because those are very competitive grants, which are awarded to the top-notch scientists across Europe by the European Research Council. It's very difficult to compete for these grants, and of course, when someone gets this grant, there's a lot of publicity and support from the European Commission to implementing these grants. So the whole investment and newly created research and development environment allowed us to start negotiations with the European Molecular Biology Lab, which is, as you know, is one of the biggest research organizations in the world. It's approximately 130 million euros operational expenditures organization, which now is planning to expand all the way up to 200 million euros annually. So, Lithuania became a member of this organization in 2019. We also joined in 2020 a smaller network of highly prestigious institutions, Instruct, which includes Weizmann Institute, Oxford University, and many universities, European universities. So while EMBL is a research organization, this is more like infrastructure network, which allows scientists to get access to state-of-the-art instrumentation, which is absent in Lithuania. But the most important event happened last year in 2020, September 8th, Life Sciences Center and EMBL signed up what is called remote partnership agreement. Before, EMBL had 6 remote partnerships, which includes prominent centers across the globe, starting Australia, European Union, and other parts of the geographical parts, we became 7th partnership organization, and this allowed us to significantly expand our visibility, to expand our center, and definitely tap into a huge pool of knowledge and competences of Heidelberg, in Heidelberg campus and other campuses of EMBL. So speaking about the life sciences industry, I would say we have four domains, which the first one is covering molecular and cellular technologies, and rough estimate of the income in this domain amounts to 1.5 billion euros. Data obtained just a few days ago, but it's probably related more to 2020 results. Medical engineering is really very active, and this number could be now a little bit higher because this is 2016 data. Clinical trials is an emerging area, definitely, but it's rather small compared to molecular technologies. And of course, we have another emerging area which is related to IT, intervention of IT and artificial intelligence, and also diagnostic services into medical diagnostics. So this is in general kind of a scheme showing the composition of this sector. Very important that sector we are involved in, we call this molecular technologies, or you can call this life sciences molecular technology sector, which is the lead sector in producing the added value. So 2016 data shows that already in 2016, 3 aggregated companies here in Lithuania were producing 200,000 euros per person per year. So this is quite significant, added value. Compared to traditional industry like food industry, materials, for example, even lasers, they were picking up, of course, and now they definitely have, companies which are running into 200,000-300,000 euros. It's rather small companies, but here I speak about the major players which currently are dominating the market and making over 1 billion euro of per annum. So this sector is definitely based on research and development. Those numbers bar shows the investment into research and development, and again we see the molecular technologies are number one in terms. So that means that essentially the high added value is generated by commercializing the knowledge, essentially the knowledge intensive industry. So this is really worth considering when investing into manufacturing, and as Karolina described, we have a lot of tax incentives which are, especially if the company is investing into R&D, making patents and commercializing those patents. Definitely there's a huge tax incentives, but more importantly, we have, of course, a huge pool of talents which can do R&D. And here's the numbers of those 3 companies. This is Thermo Fisher Scientific, Secure Biotech, and Biotech Pharma, actually Norfolk Biotech, combined, taken together. So this is the growth. You can see the numbers. Compounded annual growth rate is for 15 years is 34%. Of course, if you take the last 10 years, it goes down a little bit, but it's still in the double-digit growth. So of course, this jump is related to the COVID situation, where a huge demand of biotechnology, molecular biotechnology products appeared. And speaking about the self-organization of the players in the industry, we can probably mention Lithuanian Biotechnology Association, which is representing approximately 100 major Lithuanian biotech sector players, including academic, largest Lithuanian international biotech companies operating, 7 main academic institutions, including Life Sciences Center. We actually are the founders of this, also among the founders of this association. We have in this association a large number of small, medium enterprises and also private people or private investors who might be interested in the development of life sciences. So this organization is focusing on life sciences, health technologies, and bioeconomics in general. And finally, the Lithuania definitely has a lot of ambitions, and one of the ambitions to become a powerhouse in life sciences. Bringing together academic establishments, top-notch science in public sector, and companies, private companies, which are essentially capitalizing on research and development and knowledge created in this process. So Northtown Industry Park, you'll probably be visiting tomorrow with it. So it's our major partner. We also are planning to have a share in this investment. This is an area of 24 hectares, which will host, a number of biotech companies and private and public institutions involved in research and development of products. So the last slide is essentially describing Lithuania's strategic objective. This is our former Minister for Economy and Innovations, Virginijus Stankevičius. He's currently the Euro Commissioner. So this picture was taken in Life Sciences Forum, Life Sciences Baltic 2018 in September, So he was giving a talk, and for the first time I heard, the news that Lithuania is essentially aiming at 5% of GDP, which if you translate into money will probably comprise approximately 4 or 5 billion euros, by 2030, depending on the growth rate of the country's GDPs. And of course, in this context, in the context of this really serious goal, and all these support measures which are already in place and probably will be triggering the creation of new support measures. Major objectives of all our kind of actors in this field would be becoming a dream destination for international talents for studies and employment. And we put a lot of efforts, and I will tell you a little bit more in detail when you will be visiting Life Sciences Center, how we do this. So we definitely want to, for young talents across the world, who are dreaming about working in academia or getting employment in high-tech industry, coming specifically to Vilnius, to Lithuania, and establishing themselves, their lives, and working here and really enjoying, everything, from material side and to all other issues which are important for young people. Well, of course, we need to concentrate on educating a new generation of entrepreneurs for life sciences centers. This is a really big problem, so this is a new area for us. Expanding knowledge transfer and commercialization of, especially having infrastructure in place. Good manufacturing facilities, good manufacturing practice, good laboratory practice, good development practice facilities essentially are currently absent, so we are aiming at building this, and of course, teaming up with Taiwanese universities and Taiwanese companies, which had quite a lot of experience here, would be of great value. Of course, we need to increase output of our intellectual property through patenting and licensing. This is again the area where Taiwanese companies and universities are very strong, and we are looking forward to getting this experience transferred from Taiwan to Lithuania. Facilitating startups and university spin-offs and expanding international partnerships with strong brands in both academia and industry. So that's it. And the final slide, I always would like to kind of present our vision. In the next 10 years, I guess the return on investment made in the last 10 years in life sciences will generate tremendous value and benefit for society. And this will happen because academia, which now is using this investment, will educate talents and create knowledge. This knowledge will be transferred to the companies in the form of intellectual capital. Business will convert knowledge and talents into money, pay taxes, and those taxes will come back to universities. So this is ever increasing spiral, I guess, will support and support and contribute to the generation of value or benefits for society. So thank you very much, and open for the questions.
Thank you very much, Gintaras. And now, let me introduce Yu Peng Hong, Director of Development Division at Adimun Corporation and President of Animune Corporation. Let me tell a few words about these companies. Adimun is the biggest human vaccine company in Taiwan, which supplies 50% of flu vaccine for local market and got the certificate from European Medicinal Agency, European Union, and Taiwan. And Animune Corporation focuses on the innovation for animal diseases, control combines with advanced technology from Research Institute and state-of-the-art biologics production system from a parent company, Animune. Animune focuses on innovation vaccines target on emergent and severe infectious disease of animals. Yu Peng Hong is involved in all levels of sales, marketing, business, and corporate development, and has over 18 years experience in biopharma and animal health for Asian countries, Russia, China, Taiwan, and Korea. And today, Mr. Yu Peng Hong is reaching out from Taiwan to be your biopharma partner.
And I'm very happy to be here. And this is the third stop in Europe. The first one, we go to the Bratislava, and then we go to Prague. I think the most important for me is to be here, because to show you something about what we have done in Taiwan, what we can do in the future for the biotech industry. From Taiwan, Lithuania, Europe, China, to US. And I will share some experience from myself. And we may have some similarity to each other in this site. So today, my topic is reaching out from Taiwan to be your biopharma partner. Because we are good in the vaccine production. It's a generic, almost we can say it's a generic. Almost we can say it's like a generics, because of everyone, there are 14 flu vaccine producer in the world. But very important for Animune from 2012, because from that time we start to turning to be the partner of other biological company, because we have the worldwide standard. We got the certificate from Europe. We got a certificate from the US. So many Asian companies come to us. And one very important company from the US, they are the starting up company, and they are looking for partner who can take care Europe, US, and also China. And we are the one to help them to make it happen. So later on, I will show you that. Okay, first of all, this is Animune. We always say that the CMO and the CDMO for one-stop shop for your biologicals. So why we say one-stop shop? Because if we want to achieve a goal for the biological product, that is we got the license to sell. Before we got the license to sell, we have to finish all the preclinical study, right, for phase 1. And then we will go for phase 2 and phase 3. So Lithuania is very good place for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right? Yes, and I just heard there are 1,200 projects for the clinical trial in here. So it's amazing for me. So from the other side, before the Lithuania can do other things, what Taiwan can do. So what our suggestion with our clients in Taiwan or in Asia, we're thinking about, okay, in Taiwan, we finish all the preclinical data. Then we apply for the drug license, like a new drug NDA, try to in Europe. And we try to create a multi-center clinical trial. So what we can do. And Lithuania, today, I know that you in the past, we're thinking about Czech Republic, Poland, and even the Belgium, or it will be the site to do the study. But today, I think Lithuania is better for the clinical trial as a site to collect, enroll the subjects. So what do we do? In Taiwan, we have a very good infrastructure. Before the clinical trial, the preclinical data, we can do the CMC in TFBS. We can do the animal model in NHRI. Because Animune, in the past 10 years, we helped many companies to get the license in Europe, and also helped the Sanofi to get the license in US. Of course, Sanofi is the best. But that company, that product is a recombinant flu vaccine. We call it a flu block. In the beginning, okay, the flu blocks come from Protein Science. It's a startup company. Then after we help them to get the license in US, they're being acquired by Sanofi. Then Sanofi become the main player, the only player of that product. And the original company got to be very rich because they sell it to the Sanofi. And before Sanofi, we work with them. And after Sanofi, we work with Sanofi. So that's what we have done. Because in Taiwan, we have everything. And the very important, adding meal, we combine everything to perform the final drug product. So every time I will have to say that for the different partners, I will say that. Maybe in the past, you're never thinking about Taiwan. But right now, look at the iPhone, right? Who produced the iPhone? Who make the final product of iPhone? Not Apple, not a China company. It's made by Taiwan company. We call it a Fastcom, right? Yes, the same. What Additive do? We help Sanofi. Sanofi, their own product, they don't produce it. We produce that. We make the final product for the Sanofi and send it back to US and Europe this year. So that's what we can do. Taiwan can help. So today my topic, reaching out from Taiwan. Okay, this one, the Taiwan become bigger. Indeed, we are very small, all right? And we have a very strong neighbor, China. Okay, but we are lucky. There are 13 import licenses for vaccine in China. Only 13. Eddie Mill got 2 of them. So we still keep good relationship with the Chinese government. And we know how it works about the China pharma regulation. We know how to register the product for biologicals. So if our partner want to go for China market, we may be the good one you can rely on. Okay. Then we also have the license in Thailand, in Indonesia, and we have a halal certificate. Okay. So, but the most important is for the US and the Europe. Okay. So we got the European EMA certified for the PIGS GMP from 2015. And 2016, we got the US FDA GMP certified. So come to us. We can go anywhere. And this year, we start to export to Russia. It's our flu vaccine as the antigen final bulk. Okay. So finally, I have to present my company. Okay, let you know who is Additive. Additive is an old company. It's from 1965. But after 2008, we have a new leader. This is my boss. He told me, he asked me to say something for him. Because he is very close to Europe, and he used to be the ambassador of Taiwan. And before he became the ambassador, he is the Minister of Health. And he makes speech in Prague in the 2004. It's the President Havel at that time. So he asked me to show his welcome to Taiwan, visit my company. Okay. So this is what we have the signed agreement, the collaboration with Sanofi for more than 10 years. So we signed that. So this is what we have done. Very good relationship with Sanofi, with a European company. So this is what you can see. We have the US FDA GMP and EU EMA, the GMP, Taiwan, and also the Canada, Brazil, the GMP. And very important, maybe only, I think, especially in Asia and some European country or some Middle East country, halal certificate is very important. And we just got it last year. And we export to US and EU more than 20 million doses products. They all put in the prefilled syringe, the combination drug. So this is what we have done. Okay. And this is our leadership. Our new management team was from 2008. after 2008, why is 2008? Because we signed a very important contract with Crucel. It's a Netherlands company. And then Crucel becomes the Johnson & Johnson. Okay, so that time is our first step to work with the European company. And then the new leader come from the minister, the health ministry. It's our chairman, Chairman Zhang. And Chairman Zhang invite many new management team player here. This is our Dr. Liu. Dr. Liu is from Genentech before. And he becomes the director of the ITRI for biotech. And our Qingchen Zhang is from the UC Davis and also joined the company for more than 20 years. And very important is Nathan Ten. He joined the company last year. And he used to work for Pfizer as a clinical director for US, for the West Coast, and also for China. So right now, he's in charge for all the project we want to register in everywhere. Okay. So he knows this, all the regulation, the requirement in China, in US, and in Europe. Okay. So we can do more than before because we accomplish many steps to be your partner. Okay. Okay. So my time is limited. It's okay. Thank you. So let's see what we can do. If you are just a startup company, you need someone to produce the antibody for you. You may need a cell culture system. And we have 2 sites for the cell culture. Okay. And if you are a vaccine company, or you need to develop a universal vaccine, you need an egg base. Okay, this is our flu vaccine background. Okay. And the recombinant system, I think, very important. Everybody has CHO cell. But for LMU, we have baculovirus also. Because some antigen will show better result in the baculovirus platform. And we got it. And it's a GMP system. So before you do the clinical trial, you need a GMP batch. So we have baculovirus system. It's not common in the world. And then will be the very important, it's the small part, but it is our most important part. This is the final step of your product. We do the formulation and the filling in the pre-filled syringe. Next year, we will also have vial system. So we supply the vial filling service and the pre-filled syringe service. And very important, right now, we are building up a new filling line for the auto-injector system. So hope there, all the biological products they need for the final step that we can do. And right now, this pre-filled syringe, where we help the protein science, it's for the U.S. Sanofi, okay, for the U.S. market and the European market. And then we also help a Chinese company called Tectal to help them to get the Poland market and the Italian market for the enoxaparin. And they only sell with a very low price, about 25% in Sanofi. So because the insurance environment, so they got all the market. So that's what we can do. So very important thing is our labor and overhead, especially the labor cost, compared to Vetter or Catalan or Patheo in the US, is quite low. So you get the same quality of the service, but you can get a very competitive in the market. Thank you. Okay. So the last moment I want to show you our certificate in the FDA. This in EU. I think this one is in Italy. Okay. And also the Taiwan, the GMP. And very important is we also got the Brazil in the South America and the Hala. And I hope that I can show you more about my facility. Okay, so this is we have a flu vaccine. We have a pre-filled syringe system, vial system, and also the cell culture system. We have small batch and the large size for bacular system and also the CHO cell system with different site. Okay. So that's about my facilities. And then, if I have time, I want to show you more about our second line. This is our second line. It's the prefilled syringe. Right now, we're also helping a new company. They produce the monoclonal antibody. That's ILIA. That's the new product because the whole syringe will become a safety device, will become a medical device, will go to the surgery. So we have the new the technology. We can do the terminal stabilization for the protein drug, but still keep the potency of the drug. So this is the new tech for us. Okay. So finally, last one is we have to say it again. Taiwan can help. If you come to Taiwan, one stop, Taiwan can help you to do everything. You just need to do the clinical trial in Lithuania. Okay. Okay. Welcome to Edimune. Welcome to Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now it's a time for questions and answer session. So, yes, please.
Thank you. I'm very much interested in your talk, Ms. Karolina. You talk about your clinical trial data is recognized by the US, right? And of course, it was recognized by all the European countries. My question is, how about the product? If a Taiwan product gets approved in your great country, and can this be sold to all the European community, or in addition to also to United States? Is there any regulations on?
Thank you very much. It's a very good question. So briefly commenting on that, we have foreign companies like Thermo Fisher, Teva. They are exporting their products manufactured in the country to US, to Asia, to Europe. The main thing is that once the product is manufactured in Lithuania, you would require as a company to receive approvals. And once you have these approvals, all the manufactured products can be exported easily. There are no any specific limitation, or so it's just a question of approval. So for instance, we have manufacturing facilities in the country who are authorized by FDA, so they come every half a year, check if they are standing according to the requirements, and if everything is according to the requirements, their products can be sold in US. Yes. Do you mean about UK and the current situation with UK? So as you know, UK introduced their guidelines, and now companies need to go through certain additional certification in order to be able to sell their products to UK. And it works also the opposite way. So once a product is manufactured in UK, they have to go for additional requirements in order to be able to sell their products to EU. So all in all, there are several steps added to the process.
Thank you. Any other questions? Participants?
Thank you very much. I have a question to Mr. Hanke. So thank you very much for a nice, really presentation. So your company essentially is working like a contract development and manufacturing organization, and definitely, as I can imagine, you're much valuing partnerships with large pharma companies like Sanofi you mentioned. So, but since you were inviting to utilize and take advantage of your capacities, so do you have contracts with small companies, with startups? Are startups from Taiwan or from maybe other parts of the world are coming to Edimune and making orders? So if so, could you please elaborate on the partnership with smaller companies with startups.
Especially from last year, everyone want to develop the COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, one like for example, a small company in Singapore, and another small company in Switzerland. They have very good antigen delivery platform. Okay, so they're looking for us for two help. The first one, we give them our antigen, the protein, the spike protein of the COVID-19. The second, they will help us, we can help them to formulate with their adjuvant and compound to developing a GMP process for the compounding and also the filling. And then they apply in Europe for the clinical trial for phase 1. So this is what we have done for a starter company, a small one in Singapore, and another middle scale company. It's in Korea. That company is the biosimilar company. They have composed the phase 3 study in Europe, in Japan, and in US. But at that time, they just start from a vial. But finally, that product right now, everybody goes to the syringe form. So they come to us. They don't know about syringe because many new companies, they know about the drug. They don't know about combination drug. It means that they don't know the container. They have no idea about put the drug into the specific container. So they will find us. So at that time, we are CDMO partner with them. So we put their drug into the container and develop a new process. So it's also a CDMO project. So it's also for a middle-sized company to do that. So we give you these 3 samples, then you may know that. And very important what I say last year. Because last year, the COVID-19, many companies, they want to develop or they want to contribute, okay, to do something in this pandemic. But they have ideas, but they don't have the GMP facility. And they don't have the experience to do the commercialization. So they were looking for us. And we will put everyone in the pipeline and put them in the prioritize. Of course, we also have our own COVID-19 vaccine. So everybody is thinking, okay, maybe we can supply different way to work with. For example, we can say it's a co-development. Okay, everyone have your own right, and we share the final benefit in royalty. So that's also what we are doing with them. And also, there is another AI company. They design a very good antigen, but they just design. They have dry lab, so they fire us. Okay, Albert, you have a wet lab, and your wet lab is GMP and is being certified. So they come to us. It's a New York company. So they come to Taiwan to visit us and ask us to put their project into our pipeline. So we try that's very difficult because every wet lab takes time. But as I mentioned from the PTT, from the slide, Taiwan, we have many different labs, GLP. I know in Europe also have many GLP, but all the GLP has been occupied dramatically in the whole world, not only in Taiwan, in Europe, in US, everywhere, especially the Thermo Fisher. Right now, their raw material is very expensive and shortage. We have to, maybe if we got a better bonding with Lithuania, we can easy to get the raw material. But go back to the topics. So in Taiwan, last year, my personal, yes, we synchronize. We put all the possible resources together to push them to get validated. All the GLP to get validated for the new protocol, especially for the COVID-19 vaccine development. For For example, the CMC. In the past, we send the product, we send the antigen, or we send the material to how can I say, to which one? Pearl River, right? We send it to Pearl River and waiting for a long time to get the result. But right now, in the pandemic, there was no time. So at ADMU, we guide our local lab to become a GLP, and then we get validated and certified by the FDA. So in Taiwan, right now, I can say we can do the one-stop shop. And then the second is that for the mass production, if your project is a success, you will be thinking about, Albert, I may need 500 million doses. So the capacity is not enough in your side. What you can do? We also alliance with our partner in Taiwan from other company. We are all good friends, and they have the pre-GMP. So if needed, we also can guide them to get the GMP certified from EMA or from US FDA. Then they can produce more. So this is our experience. But I didn't show on the slide because we still don't get the license for the commercial case. But there are a lot of smaller cases and projects in our company. Yes.
Yes, please.
Excuse me, may I have a very small request? This year, suddenly, Taiwan suffered from an outbreak of the COVID pneumonia. Last year, we are fine. We have very low cases. But this year, we suffered an outbreak, and maybe 10,000 people get infected. And we are short of vaccine. And your great country is the first one in Europe and announced that you donate AstraZeneca vaccine to my country. And all the people in Taiwan really appreciate your efforts. Of course, we receive vaccines from Japan, from United States. But your small gift actually is the big gift. Give us very warm greeting, and everyone is happy and really appreciate. I come from an enterprise we call Xingkong Enterprise. Xingkong Enterprise consists of banking, security, department, insurance. The biggest part is the insurance, and also the medical centers. So before I have this visit to your great country, my boss told me, Dr. Ho, you go there and try to find something that we can return back to the great country. So my small request is that, can anybody introduce me to anyone in the hospital, or teach me what you need? That's only just like such as ambulance car or respirators or anything that I can discuss with him to show our appreciation. Okay, so if it is possible, please contact me, give me person so we can talk with each other, and it's better from the hospital side. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really heartwarming talk from you. Thank you very much. And I'm really feeling proud that our small country can help other countries also. And that means that humanity is still in our blood, and we feel our pains, and we can help you in any case. So thank you for your offering. And if you will feel that in any case we need your help, of course we will remember and approach you. with our needs. And yeah, please.
I think it's very valuable for us to exchange our experience here regarding the biotech industry. I think it will be very helpful for both of our two countries. I hope through the sharing that we can find some way to find the cooperation between Taiwan and Lithuania. So I think this seminar is very valuable and very helpful for all of us. And one small question is for for this lady, that is, the funding for biotech is very important, very important. So if your country, if your company, your product has not commercialized, and you have no earnings from the market, it is possible for your stock to trade in the stock market. Do you have a special regulations for biotech industry to trade in to list in the stock market?
Thank you. That's a very good question. So just commenting briefly on the finance, I talked about financial incentives from the perspective of company having manufacturing or R&D operations establish itself. Nevertheless, as Gintaras also showed in his presentation, there are a lot of funding available in governmental support for local companies to foster their growth, also European grants in order to commercialize the product. That usually comes in a bit smaller scale. Nevertheless, it's intends to help company to grow. Commenting on the stock market, we do not have such. Nevertheless, during recent past years, we see that venture capitalists is rather increasing, and we see that companies are receiving funding from venture capitalists mostly if their technology seems promising. So I would say not the stock market, but from venture capital companies, the funding is available.
And at the same time, if I may add, we have a lot of Lithuanian companies like startups who are searching for funding. They are doing some nice job in biotech field, and sometimes Lithuania is just too small for them. And sometimes venture capitalist people, they do not want to invest in quite a risky biotech business. And we know that other countries, they have a little bit different policy in that. So if you could just maybe think about some joint events where our stars of biotech field can just introduce our technologies to someone from Taiwan, maybe that would be also a possibility to collaborate closer. And I'd like to ask maybe already the last question, which would be addressed to Gintaras Valincius. Do you see any collaboration possibilities between Vilnius University, especially, I don't know, with universities from Taiwan or with pharma companies? How do you see the situation?
Thank you for the question. So we already have implemented 4 rather big projects between life scientists, in our Vilnius University and Taiwan University. They will be, some of them will be present today in the afternoon meeting at Life Sciences Center. So definitely science has no borders. In these days, it doesn't matter whether you have, your research partner here in Poland or in Taiwan. Just recently, we had a very nice connection with the South African research institutions, several research institutions and agencies, and we're in the process of negotiating joint projects related to issues important for African continent. But going back to Taiwan, I believe there is a huge, area of expansion, especially if the agreements between the government of Lithuania and government of Taiwan would be in place, which would allow to support this type of incentives. For example, joint projects could be supported even without money crossing the border. For example, Lithuania funds its own part, and Taiwan funds its Taiwan part, and definitely this is a huge, support for scientists and good trigger to trigger. Scientists typically, establish collaboration on the private, on their private networks, but the framework of support of scientific inquiry should be in place and should be done by governmental officials. So shortly speaking, we already have Lithuanian, Latvian, Taiwan agreement between research councils, and those research councils are helping out to establish. This is trilateral agreement. I don't know whether this is really the most rational way. Maybe bilateral would be better, or expanding, trilateral into bilateral, with having, bilateral options on the trilateral agreement. So speaking about the companies, what I heard today from Mr. Hanke, and surely will be getting into this deeper, analyzing situation. I believe this is really a huge potential, especially for the spin-outs. Our center is still, just starting, participating in creation of spin-outs and participating in spin-outs. But in the future, I believe this could be another diversified form of the income for investors to establish spin-out, get something like 5-10% share, and promote spin-out, help out with international collaborative dimensions, and at the point when the shares will appreciate 1,000, 10,000 times, whatever you can dream about. University can sell those shares and get some income from this type of. So I believe in the changing world of today's, I guess there's a lot of new opportunities for the collaboration between academia and business, and today we had really good exchange, which I believe will contribute to maybe drafting some new ideas about collaboration between Lithuania and Taiwan.
Okay, so our session is coming to the end, and I know that it could be that some questions are still left, and I know that we didn't have possibility to get the questions from our participants which are participated online. We have one, right? Okay, so yes. Have you encountered any challenges of reaching 5% GDP from life sciences industry by 2030? Well, that's a question maybe for Karolina. Maybe you have some insights here.
Thank you. Every ambition has its own challenges, but I think we are on the right path. And the most important thing that we have like a strong community in the life sciences, and all stakeholders are interested in achieving that challenge. That's how we support each other, and we try to find the best way and the most convenient way to reach the goal. So that's thanks to our community. There are challenges, but we are working on them, and I believe that we will achieve the 5% of GDP ambition.
Thank you very much. So I think you took each other's contact details. If you need to reach us, you can do it through Invest Lithuania, through Enterprise Lithuania, or through me. So if there are some questions left, please feel free to contact us anytime. And I would like to thank you in the name of organizers, of all participants, and of Lithuanian Ministry of Innovations that you participated here, and thank you much for coming such a long way to us and bringing some nice news to Lithuania. Thank you very much.